The Chargers have trades to make. Mike Williams, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Keenan Allen are not safe. Okay, well, Keenan Allen, that dude is safe. He's not going anywhere. But what about Mike Williams? I mean, he is probably the best jump ball wide receiver in the NFL, but the Chargers are staring right in the face of a cap situation and may need to move on from him due to his large contract. And Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, they are in the same situation, and the Chargers are reportedly interested in trading both of those guys. And as for Mike Williams, they may be forced to just flat out cut him. Now, the obvious answer here that you might be thinking is, well, why not just restructure a bunch of contracts? Well, make sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this content. It helps me out so much, bro. And let me explain to you why contract restructures doesn't really work in this situation. So contract restructuring is very complicated in the NFL, and that's why those guys in the front office get the big bucks. But let me explain it to you guys in a simple way, in the way that I can best understand it. So there are only two types of contract restructures. It's a simple and a maximum restructure. So a simple restructure is a team converting a portion of a player's base salary or a roster bonus into a signing bonus. And depending on the contract, only a certain percentage of that is allowed. And I mean, obviously, because if you could do the whole salary, then you could essentially just have unlimited cap by doing this to every single player. But it is good for both the team and the player, because the player gets a big check rather than just being paid throughout the season, week to week, and the team is able to clear that money off of the cap because signing bonuses don't count against the cap. Now, a maximum restructure is when a team creates even more cap space by extending the player's contract in order to prorate their signing bonus, which, like I said, the signing bonus doesn't count towards the cap. Now, it gets a little confusing here. Is it possible for Mike Williams to restructure his contract just at all? It is not, because they did a simple restructure last year for him and Keenan Allen that converted almost $11 million to a signing bonus. And even if you restructure every player that you can, the money just doesn't really work out. And realistically, you have to get rid of 2 or maybe even 3 of Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams for next season. And if you really want to keep Mike Williams, then I guess the next man out might be Joey Bosa. But me personally, I would much rather have Joey Bosa than Mike Williams, because Mike Williams, he's a jump ball wide receiver that is gonna be 30 years old next season, and coming off of an ACL tear, he just doesn't play the game like Keenan Allen does and win with his route running and route savviness. He wins with the physicality that he plays with on the field, and that puts his body under a lot of stress, a lot more than a guy like Keenan Allen, and he plays in a way that just isn't going to carry into his 30s well as a wide receiver. I mean, he goes up and just high points the ball and fights for it really well. He's one of the best jump ball wide receivers in the league, but he lands hard. I mean, how many times as Chargers fans have we seen Mike Williams go up for a ball and then he lands on the turf? Maybe takes a half second for him to get up, but we're all holding our breaths because he constantly gets injured. Now, Joey Bosa, he does have those same injury concerns. He's actually played less than Mike Williams these past 2 seasons, but it's much harder to find a great edge player, or let's just say a productive edge player, than it is to find a productive wide receiver. And especially, wide receiver is a very deep position in this year's draft, and maybe at number 5, you draft a guy like Malik Neighbors while cutting Mike Williams. So I think the easy decision right here is to cut Mike Williams, or maybe even trade him. You could possibly get, like, say, a 5th or a 6th round pick out of him, because no team is going to want to trade for a wide receiver with all of these concerns that's getting a lot of money like that. And now there have also been rumors of the Chargers wanting to trade both Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Now, I would prefer to keep one of those edge players, because it would just create a gaping hole opposite of Tuli Tuipulotu, and they would have to be pretty ballsy to get rid of both of these edge guys. But I think the man to keep, if you just want to keep one of them, it's Joey Bosa, because he can do more of what Jesse Minter wants to do, and more importantly, he has a more manageable contract. I mean, Khalil Mack, obviously he's the better player right now. No one is arguing that, but his contract, it can't be restructured, but Joey Bosa's can, and it would save $10 million. Add that to the 23 that it would save to get Khalil Mack traded, and the $20 million that we just saved to either trade or cut Mike Williams. Boom, you're now just about $10 million under the cap. But then you can't do anything, right? Because now you still need to re-sign some players, and the draft costs money to sign those players. It's like $8 million because we're picking top 5. Well, add on top of that the Corey Linsley retirement, and now you're $16 million under the cap. And we retain Joey Bosa and Keenan Allen. And if you want to cut or trade Joey Bosa as well, you would only be saving an extra $12 million. But it would create a big need on this team, like I said, at the edge position. And I think that you're willing to bet that $12 million that Joey Bosa can get back to his form just so you can play it safe and not create a really big hole at a very big position in defense. Now, let me talk up Joey just a little bit here because he's getting a lot of disrespect. Listen, if Derwin James can have a comeback season under Jim Harbaugh, so can Joey Bosa. I know it's not the popular opinion right now, but like Joe Ortiz said, you need to evaluate current value and future value and then relate that to their cap hit. And the reality is, Khalil Mack was much better than Joey Bosa these past 2 years. But the cap situation that he creates, if you keep him rather than if you keep Joey Bosa, it's not worth it. And the risk of giving Joey Bosa one more prove-it season, it's not that risky, and it has a very high reward. Plus, you could get, like, say, maybe a 4th or a 5th round pick out of Joey Bosa, but Khalil Mack, I mean, that might net you a 3rd round pick. A playoff team that needs an edge position right now, like the Ravens, the Texans, they might be able to give you a 3rd round pick. You might even be able to finagle your way to get a 2nd. But you give Joey Bosa just this one season under Jim Harbaugh to see if he can have that resurgence in his career. And if he doesn't, then you just trade or cut him after this season, and then you save $25 million against the cap next year. But then let's say it does work out. Boom. Okay, then we have 2 more seasons of a very talented edge rusher who just needs to freaking stay healthy and disciplined, but he has all of the talent in the world. Now, there are a couple other moves that are a little under the radar that the Chargers could still make to save a bunch of cap. And a couple of those are trading Morgan Fox to save $3.5 million. That one, to me, the Chargers were rumored to be trading Morgan Fox. I think the reason for that is he's a bit of a tweener defensive lineman, one of Brandon Staley's guys. And Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter, they like those big defensive linemen in the middle. And then once you get out there towards like that 5 technique and that edge player, they want those guys to be athletic. Morgan Fox doesn't really fit either of those positions. I mean, obviously Jesse Minter would find a way to use him, but he would rather have someone else that fits the mold a little bit better. So you save $3.5 million by getting rid of Morgan Fox. Then you restructure Derwin James's contract and you save $8 million there. You can restructure Justin Herbert to save $4 million. You can cut Eric Kendricks to save $6.5 million. I mean, bro, that would all add up to the Chargers being roughly $38 million under the cap. So when Joe Ortiz said that he was not worried about this cap situation at all, bro, he meant it. I mean, just in this video, we retained Keenan Allen and Joey Bosa. We traded Khalil Mack, so let's just say the Ravens traded for him and we got a 3rd round pick out of him for this year in this draft. And then we cut Mike Williams, or maybe let's say we traded him for like a 6th round pick. I don't think you'd be able to get much. We cut or even traded Morgan Fox for another very late day 3 pick if we get anything back at all. And then we cut Eric Kendricks, who, I mean, he wasn't that great for us last year. I know he's kind of a fan favorite, but with that $6.5 million that you saved by cutting him, you could use that same exact money to pick up Patrick Queen in free agency, a middle linebacker that came out in the draft the same time Kenneth Murray did. They were both 1st round linebackers. Joe Ortiz picked Patrick Queen in the 1st round. He's from the Ravens, man. Hey, that would be a Jesse Minter kind of linebacker. That's all I'm saying. I know Patrick Queen wasn't the best with the Ravens, but he's a fast and physical linebacker. So is Kenneth Murray, man. I mean, if the Chargers want to, they could basically pair up Patrick Queen with Kenneth Murray. Those are 2 fast and freaking very physical linebackers that can shoot the gap pretty well. I think both of these guys, you pair them up, Jesse Minter would be able, I mean, Jesse Minter would love those guys at linebacker. I'm just going to be honest with you. And Kenneth Murray, man, I know he gets a lot of freaking hate, but if anybody is a Harbaugh dude, Don't you think it would be Kenneth Murray? That guy is very physical. He is very fast. He plays sideline to sideline. His issue, obviously, reading the gaps in the run game at times. He improved so much on that last year, but also zone coverage. And that, yeah, that was bad. But you just give a flyer to Kenneth Murray on a very cheap contract, a prove-it deal. And you say the same thing to him that you're saying to Joey Bosa this year by not cutting him or trading him and restructuring his contract. You're saying, hey, this one season under Jim Harbaugh, you show me what you can do, and if it's good, we'll bring it back. So the Chargers have a couple trades to make, a couple contracts to restructure, and maybe a couple guys to cut. But if you didn't see my video yesterday, I did a film breakdown of Greg Roman and how this offense is going to look. You shouldn't be freaked out or worried if you are about Greg Roman.